In this video, we go hands-on with the 14-inch LG Gram. How goes it, ladies and gentlemen? This is Jeff Benjamin with 9 to 5 Toys. In my hands right here is, yes, the 14-inch LG Gram. Now, obviously, the big deal with this particular machine or this particular lineup of machines is its weight, right? Because it's in the name, gram. Less than a kilogram, this 14-inch model is. Yeah, you're basically in the territory of the 12-inch MacBook, which is about 2.03 pounds. So this 14-inch laptop with a lot more ports is right in the ballpark of the 12-inch Retina MacBook. So you can see the unboxing here had the little G logo that serves as sort of a pull tab for the plastic that wraps around the machine. We'll set that aside for now. And then our little accessory box over here, you have several things. You have a power cable, and that of course connects to the power adapter. You also have a USB-C enabled Ethernet adapter because there isn't an Ethernet or RJ45 jack on the laptop itself because it's too thin to accommodate that, so they include this. Pretty nice. A lot of companies would have charged extra for this little dongle, so nice to have that in the box. And then finally you have the power adapter itself. This connects to the power cable I showed you earlier, and the opposite end has a barrel adapter or barrel connector to go directly into your LG Gram. But I should also mention that you can charge the laptop using a USB-C charger as well if you want to do that. So you also have some documentation, limited warranty, things of that nature. Let's go ahead and use the G pull tab to unwrap the plastic. We'll set this aside for now, and we'll take the top plastic layer off the lid. And there's one on the bottom as well. So we'll just pull that off. All right. So we're almost done with the unwrapping. I think there's one last little detail that we have to remove, and that's inside when you open the lid. So we'll open it up, and you can see the little 14 logo on the screen protector. So we'll just set that aside as well. So just in case you forgot, again, this is a 14-inch laptop. So on the side, you have the hinge, you have the power input, you have a USB 2 port, you have HDMI 1.4, you have USB Type-C, USB 3.1 Gen 1 for 5 gigabits per second. You have some indicators for your power and for your disk. On the opposite side, of course, you have your hinge, you have your lock adapter, you have another USB port, you have your headphone jack, 3.5 millimeter, and you also have a micro SD slot. Yes, that's micro SD, not a full-size SD card slot. On the rear, you have the hinge, and you can see some exhaust ports. On the bottom, you have the speakers. Yes, that is a speaker. Oddly enough, down-firing speaker on both sides, so you do get stereo sound, but the sound quality is terrible. Right above the micro USB port, you have the silver power button. You can long press that to turn it on or off. It's also smart enough to go into standby mode when not in use. So if sound quality is high on your list of requirements, you're definitely going to want to take that into consideration. Now, to provide nice grip and stability, you have some rubber feet on the bottom of the laptop, as you can see there. So enough feet to give you a nice grip on the desk. And on the front lid, you have the shiny LG logo in the bottom right-hand corner, just in case you forgot what type of laptop you bought. But the really great thing about the Gram is that magnesium alloy that it's made out of. That allows it to be super lightweight. I mean, less than a gram for a 14-inch laptop is crazy, and the magnesium alloy that it's made out of doesn't feel like aluminum because it's somewhat flexible, but it doesn't feel like cheap plastic either. One thing I really appreciate about the Gram is how it's balanced with the lid, how easy it is to open. Even with one finger, you can open up the lid and it's not going to wobble around or the bottom isn't going to lift up when you open the lid. And that's a big deal because for a laptop this light, a lot of engineering resources had to have no doubt gone into that to make sure it opened just right. Now, another common complaint with the prior version of the LG Gram had to do with the keyboard. It just wasn't very good. But this time around, LG has updated the keyboard. Not only is it better to type on, but now it has a backlight as well. So there's a couple of other little details on the front. You have the Energy Star sticker, you have the Core i7 7th Gen sticker. So this is a KB Lake dual core i7 running at 2.7 gigahertz. So the Gram has a very power conscious CPU, not a world beater as far as brute force and power is concerned, but very energy efficient. So as I mentioned earlier, the webcam is perhaps the most perplexing design decision found on the LG Gram. Not only is it right there in between the lid and the keyboard, right on the hinge, but it's also very just terrible from a fidelity perspective. 720p camera very bad in low light, and every time you're using the camera, it's basically below you, so it looks like it's staring up at you, which isn't great for like web chat sessions and things like that, and Skype sessions. I do appreciate the fact that this bezel is very, very slim on 3 of the sides at least. The bottom bezel is fairly normal or regular size, but the side bezels and the top bezel is very slim and makes that 1080p IPS display really stand out. And even though there's not a lot of pixels jammed in the display, I still think it's fairly nice considering it's just 1080p. Now, along with the touchscreen, you also have trackpad inputs. You get a 4-inch by 3.75 or so inch surface area, and it is very clicky at the bottom of the trackpad. Obviously, as you get closer to the top, it's less clicky. Not a bad trackpad, fairly average, but considering the wobbliness of the screen, you're probably going to want to rely on that more so than using the touch gestures baked into Windows 10. Now, one thing that isn't so great about the screen is that it's super glossy, so it's going to be competing with outside light sources, as those are easily reflected on the glossy screen. So what you're going to have to do basically is just crank up the brightness. And while that helps, that glossy screen is still going to be something that you have to keep in mind, something you're going to have to deal with. So the Gram isn't perfect, but I do think it is one of the better travel machines, because not only does it have incredibly fast boot times, as you can see here, like 8 seconds, it's booted up, ready to use, ready to go. Not only that, but it also has really good battery life. I'm getting about 9.5 to 10 hours on average. And this right here is about after 8.5 hours of usage, and it's still ready to go. And remember that you can use USB-C to charge your laptop as well. This isn't the laptop that you want for 4K workflows or for hardcore gaming, but if you need to travel light and you want a laptop that gives you all-day battery life, then the Gram may be worth your consideration if you can live with its shortcomings. So what do you guys think? Sound off down below in the comments section and let me know. This is Jeff with 9 to 5 Toys.